Hi, I'm Jennifer from my-colorado-kitchen.com, where I bring from scratch recipes straight from my Colorado kitchen to yours. Today we're gonna make some tangy deviled eggs. These are by far our favorite deviled eggs that I've ever made. They don't use any mustard to make it tangy, so we're gonna use some pickle juice, some apple cider vinegar, and I promise you, you will fall in love with these deviled eggs. But first, we have to boil the eggs. So I've tried so many different ways to boil eggs with not a ton of luck in peeling them. So boiling them, fine, but peeling them is always the trouble. What I found that works the best is you're gonna take a large pot of water and you're going to let it boil. Once it's boiled, then you're going to add the eggs to it. So use tongs and add the eggs very carefully to the pot while the water is still boiling. Once you have all of the eggs in there, then you're going to let them boil for about 10 to 15 minutes, in that realm, somewhere in there, depending on how soft you like the yolk. When that's done, you'll carefully take them out. You'll put them in a large bowl of ice water. So I pour a bunch of ice in, put cold water in so it's nice and cold. You're going to carefully, with tongs, take the eggs out of the boiling water and you're going to put them in the ice bath. You're going to let them sit in the ice bath for about 10 to 15 minutes until they're pretty cool. If you need to use them, you can use them right away after that. Or my favorite is I like to do those ahead of time, and then the next day or later in the day come back and make the deviled eggs. So regardless, if you're gonna use them right away, that's great. If not, pop them in the fridge, and then when you're ready, pull them out and we can start peeling them. To peel the hard-boiled eggs, we're going to first crack them. I just cracked them on the edge of my counter. And I just do one crack, so I don't crack them all over. I know I've seen some people where they crack them all over the egg. I don't do that. I just do one crack. And then you're going to use the side of your thumb. At least that's the best for me. I'm right-handed, so I'm gonna use the side of my thumb. And we're going to peel the shell off. So one of the things to keep in mind is you really want to make sure you get that under layer. So that membrane, that white membrane, so you want to make sure you get your finger, your thumb under that membrane in order to really peel that egg well. If you don't, then you will have a lot of the egg white that will come with the shell, and it'll make the it'll just make the deviled egg not so pretty, and you'll lose some of the egg white for it. We're just using the side of our thumb here. And sometimes we get lucky, we get big pieces. Nice. And I want to get all that membrane off as well. Once the egg is peeled, then I'm just going to rinse it in cold water, and then I'm going to place it on my flour sack towel. This will help just absorb the water and dry the egg a little bit, so we won't have any runny or watery eggs. No one wants that. We're going to repeat with all of the eggs. Once the eggs are all peeled and then rinsed, we're going to just pat them dry with our little towel here. The next step is you're going to cut them in half, but you're gonna cut them in half lengthwise, so the long part. So cut them like that. And then I just set them aside. For this recipe, we're just using 6 eggs, so it'll make us 12 deviled eggs. The next step is we're gonna take a bowl and we're going to put the egg yolks into our bowl. So this you do by turning the egg upside down, and then you're gently just gonna kind of like pull it apart, and then the egg yolk will fall right in. So So the best way I have found to put deviled eggs and then keep them cold while you serve them or before you serve them is to use this tray. This tray is from Pampered Chef. I will link it in the description below. But these pieces, they are, you put them in the freezer, they're frozen. And then you can see here, there's little pieces that lift the egg up so that way they don't get watery at all. Also with this tray, you can flip these over and then there's inserts that can go in there so you can put veggies and whatnot. So it's a multi-purpose tray, not just for deviled eggs, which I appreciate, but we'll go ahead, we'll put our eggs in there. Now that we have our egg yolks in our bowl, we are going to add the other ingredients. So the first thing I'm gonna add is going to be 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise. I like this olive oil mayonnaise the best. I think it tastes the best and it has the least bad things in it for you, but so we'll do a tablespoon. After our tablespoon of mayo, we're going to do 2.5 teaspoons of dill pickle juice. So again, obviously I have my favorites. This is my favorite of the pickles. So the Grillo pickles, they have dill in them. They're made with the freshest ingredients. There's no added yellow dye. They are delicious. There's also the fresh dill in there. I like to actually get some of that in my juice because I think it adds a little flavor in the eggs. Then we're going to add our apple cider vinegar. So we need 1.5 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. Don't skip this step. I promise you it tastes really good when all the flavors are mixed together. So definitely add the apple cider vinegar. Next, we're gonna add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. It's my 1/2 teaspoon. We're also gonna add a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. We're gonna add 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Then we're gonna mix it all up. I don't know why, but I like to just use a fork for this. I think the fork is just the easiest. It helps mash the yolks and then it will help stir it all together. It will at first seem runny, but I promise you it's gonna come together nicely. One thing about this recipe is if you want more than 6 eggs, you can do 12, you could do 24, you can do as many eggs as you want. You would just multiply the ingredients and it'll still work very well for the amounts that you need. Then to be extra fancy, we're going to add our filling into a piping bag. This piping bag is pretty ginormous, but I like to have the big ones because then you can use them for a bunch of different things. These are the throwaway ones because, again, I don't love dishes, so they'll work for this, but I am gonna cut it down first so it's not so big. Then we'll fill our piping bag with our deviled egg filling. Okay, once we have our filling in the piping bag, and I grab it at the top and I just shake it down, try and pull it all the way down to that bottom. We want all of the filling to go on down. I'm gonna cut it in half. Then you're going to take those 2 halves and we're going to tie it. And this way, it won't pop back up. our cute little carrot piping bag. We'll cut the tip here, and then we'll pipe the filling right into the eggs. If you don't want to use a piping bag, you can just take a spoon, like a regular teaspoon, and then just spoon it in. The piping bag allows you to be fancy if you want, do different designs. You could use different tips at the end to make them really, really fancy. As you can see, mine aren't super fancy. They're just going to be eaten really quickly. Next, we're going to top them with paprika. Paprika not only makes them look pretty, but it also adds a nice touch of flavor to it. You could add a little bacon to the top to round out the flavor profile. And there you have it, some tangy deviled eggs. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more from scratch recipes, and check out my-colorado-kitchen.com for the full recipe details. From my kitchen to yours, happy cooking.